And thank you to B&A Concreting, who are bringing us Micromax this weekend. Jake Rutkowski will start on the pole. Max Walton, the outside front row. Second row of the grid is James Ananostiadis and Charlie Evans, with Jensen Burns and Jackson Burns lining up on row 3. And out of 7 will be Peter Buzanellis. Got a special guest up here in the commentary box, the man who is the voice of international karting. Great to have him back in Australia and here at the Bend Motorsport Park and Sylvestron. Welcome to the Bend.
Matt Payne, thank you very much. What a pleasure it is to be at, undoubtedly, I think we can say, there is no question, this is the best motorsport facility in the country, and it's not even finished yet, and a fantastic scene to host the final round of the Pro Tour for 2000 and, what year is it? 18.
18, yes.
And
Mate,
this is the first of our finals, I believe.
Your backyard is go-kart tracks all over the world, the best in the world, Genk, Lanato.
The Bend.
The Bend.
The Bend. Yeah,
how does this compare?
I'll preempt your question there, Matt, and say, yeah, this is right up there. Of course, let's be fair, it is still being finished, but it's just magnificent. We had the V8 supercars, or whatever they're called these days, racing here a week or two back, as we do go green, I believe, for the Micro Max final here. They go down into turn number 1 without a problem. Yeah, this is just world class, Matt. We've got a clean start for the Micromax final, the final round of the Pro Tour for 2018.
And of course, all to play for in Micromax as well. One place to the World Finals in Brazil at the end of November. And of course, it is between Jake Rutkowski, who's currently second, and Peter Buzanellis, the Big Red Machine. He's currently in 4th spot. He's just swept into position number 4. So they're the two drivers that we need to keep an eye on. But James Ananostiadis, he leads the way at the moment as they come around out of the Mojo section towards the front straightaway here. This karting stadium, I've almost got to break it into sections. I can't really name a certain corner. It's you've got to break it into the Mojo section or what have you. It's just so huge.
That'll come naturally over time. That's how circuits evolve. I mean, we look at the most famous track in Australia, which is Bathurst, and the corners on that circuit evolve over various incidents, what happened over time. The same will happen here at the Bend. This is the first ever event held at the circuit. I heard Lee Harrison, who's the manager of the complex here, saying there will be a rallycross here next weekend. You also alluded to that, Matt. So there'll be various corners named. We can see, for example, there's a Nissan GTR R32 on the main circuit in the background. We'll call that R32 corner for the day if we can, as one of the cuts goes off into the dirt.
And that gives the lead to Jake Rutkowski in the number 44. So the two combatants, there was only 20 points that separated them in the Rotax rankings coming into this weekend. Rutkowski and Buzanellis, they are 1 and 2 on the circuit yesterday. It was advantage Buzanellis after yesterday, but Jake Rutkowski, who's a real little live wire, leads the way as Buzanellis goes up the inside in the Sarah Driver development cart and down to turn number 1. It's great to see some dry running. Yesterday was all over the show, Ian. We had wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry. The magnificent part about this circuit is it drains so quickly. It's unbelievable.
Exactly. The first two DD2 heats, or pre-finals, I should say, this morning, they started in the wet. By the time the checkered flag came out, it was bone dry, as we can see now. Just getting back to on track, kart number 44, Jake Rutkowski, I believe, driving for Shemek Racing, made the move down the inside into turn number 1, and they're going to go side by side again into the Mojo section. Ooh. This is at the end of lap number 4. We've still got 7 karts out on the circuit. They are starting to spread around. We'll check the order for you next time across the line. This is the Micromax final. The order has changed once again.
Maxie Walton it is who leads the way over Jake Rutkowski. Buzanellis has dropped back into 3rd spot there. So all to play for. We'll have to add up the points after the competition this afternoon to see who it is that's going to represent Australia in Brazil at the end of the year. These two, Rutkowski and Buzanellis, have fought it out throughout the course of the Rotax Pro Tour, the 6th round of the series here, coming to this magnificent complex. What sort of event would you like to see here, Ian, from a world perspective?
Gee, that's a good question. I did hear you say the Rotax Grand Finals. Of course, that'll be held in South America, in Brazil, for the first time this year. The sky's the limit. If we go back in time to the 1990s, Australia was world renowned because we held a very successful Oceania Championships. That's got to be first cab off the rank. That's got to be what we've got to be aiming for. The grand finals, that's a big effort. That's around €1 million to host that event. So yeah, that's a lot of money. It's a big event. But hey, we're Australians. We live in the best country in the world. We've got now one of the best tracks in the world. Let's create our own race. Let's create our own event. And let's hope the Pro Tour is back here again in 2019.
Very much so, and up the front it is all starting to tee off here. Rutkowski and Busanellis are 1 and 2. The young live wire for Schmick Racing. Jake Rutkowski leads away. He's got the little fella, the Victorian, right behind him in Peter Busanellis, the big red machine. He's throwing it out there. Max Walton, one of the 3 Z-Course drivers. He's right in the mix. He set the pole time yesterday. He would love to walk away with the first ever trophy here at the Ben Motorsport Park as Busanellis sweeps back to the front. Back to the front straight away they come.
Peter is the race leader, and he did start from dead last on the grid. He's the race leader side by side down into turn 1. Little Max Walton, Jake Rutkowski, second and third on the circuit. If I can self-indulge just briefly, we speak about nostalgia, the Oceania Championships in the 1990s. Max's dad, Chris Walton.
Yep.
I raced against him in that period, and also the Burns twins, Jason, who I don't believe is here this weekend. Jason caught up with him at Lenato a few weeks ago, and also race against Jason. We're getting old, Matt.
Yes, we are.
These young kids, they're starring on the circuit, though. This is the Micro Max final, and they're doing a fine job.
And, of course, Chris still racing out there and very much at the front of DD2 Masters, which will be coming up a little bit later on as they start working their way back around here. Busanellis leads away down the front straight away. The 68 of Walton is in second. Rutkowski is in third. Ananostiadis there in fourth spot. So they work their way through. This field starting to spread out just a little bit here.
Charlie Evans, the 52 Evo kart, half a lap behind, has had an incident off screen. He is still circulating, but around about 300 or 400 metres behind the leading 6.
Young Charlie, a South Australian. It's his first ever Rotax Pro Tour event. So good to have Charlie as part of the Rotax Pro Tour.
Peter, Max, Jake, James, Jackson and Jensen Burns.
They put on such a great little show, the Z-Course kids. The Burns and the Walton kids are like just entertaining. Everywhere you look, there's something going on between them. The 2 Burns came together a little bit earlier on today.
Yeah, Jackson has got the better of his twin brother. Jackson running in P5, Jensen in 6, Charlie, the South Australian that we just alluded to, in the Evo kart in 7th spot. We go back to the race leader, Peter Busanellis. Matt, I don't want to alarm anything. We're a fair way back. We can see everything from this commentary position. We can see his rear bumper. It is scraping on the bitumen. He is leading the race. This may be a sensation. It is not our decision. We'll just leave it at that. You've got 2 eyes. You can see it's not slowing him down, but there is plastic on the asphalt from our race leader. This could turn into quite a sensation here. The Micro Max final. This is exactly half race distance. We come across the line. We look at the rear bumper of the 46 car from Schmick Racing. The gap, it's a good 1 second. Well, we'll leave it for others to decide.
That's not our decision, but obviously, yes, I can see that and did see that a few laps ago. But Busanellis, that would be a very cruel way if something did occur around that. Max Walton in second. Ananostiadis still there in third spot. James Ananostiadis has got the current DD2 world champion, Cody Gillis, preparing that kart for him. And Cody, of course, stepping out of the Rotax competition this year, went on to win the Australian X30 Championship just a few weekends ago at Todd Road. And James, he started in the Pro Tour at the beginning of the year and has really come on strong. And this has probably been his strongest performance so far, to be sitting in third spot here and all over the tail of Max Walton as they come back to the start-finish straight. They've got 7 laps to go, so we're past the halfway point. Ananostiadis up up the inside of Walton. Gets it done down into turn number 1. Can he hold on into turn number 2? Yes, he can. So Ananostiadis really stepping it up this weekend here at the Bend Motorsport Park, taking it to the next level, as they say.
James now up into position number 2, 1.6 seconds behind the race leader. That really isn't affecting anybody. Let's hope that he can continue on. The race leader, Peter Butzinellis for Shemmick Racing, cart number 46, is pulling away. We've passed half race distance, and it is James who's now got ahead of Max into P2, the Micro Max final. This is the Pro Tour at the finest motorsport facility in the land, and it's not even finished yet. This is the Bend Motorsport Park, the Rotax Pro Tour. The 6th or 7th round, Matt?
6th round this year.
6th round for 2018.
Yes, and it's been fantastic competition. Started in Melbourne, went to Dubbo in New South Wales, another fine karting facility. Then off to, where do we go for round 3? Up to Ipswich, then to Eastern Creek. Most recently in Albury, and here we are coming to a conclusion. Creating history this weekend at the Bend Motorsport Park, the first ever event inside the karting stadium. We've got 5.5 laps left to go in our first final. Who's it going to be that takes it out? Peter Butzinellis leads away. Can he create history by taking the victory? He will also qualify for Team Australia if he can hold on to this race lead. He's leading by 1.4 seconds over Ananostiadis, and of course we thank James's parents at B&A Concreting for being able to bring you the live stream of this Rotax Pro Tour Micromax final here today. Maxie Walton still there in third. Jackson Burns, though, he's on the charge. He's on the tail here in the number 23 of Max Walton, his stepbrother. Down through turn number 1 they go. They're all over the back of Ananostiadis now.
Max Walton and Jackson Burns. When we used to race against his father, Jason, we say Jason burns the house down. Well, his boy's doing a pretty good job. Up into P3 on the podium at the moment. Fighting there with Max Walton, the second generation racers. Peter, though, I hope he can speak Portuguese, because it looks as though if he can hang on for another 4 laps, he'll be on his way to Brazil and the Rotax Max Grand Finals for 2018.
What a wonderful event that promises to be, as well as now Walton goes up the inside of Ananostiadis, but Ananostiadis holds strong into second position now. And onto the front stretch they come one more time. This is really starting to fire up here. There's 4 laps to go in this final for Micromax. I was going to make the point that the Brazilians will no doubt bring a certain flair to the World Finals, that it'll just be a terrific event to be a part of over there at the end of November.
Of course, Brazil, a long and storied career in the world of motorsport. They've had 3 world karting champions over the years. 1986, Guga Ribas. And 95, my good friend Gustavo Fragua, who beat Jensen. Ironically enough, Jensen Button, as Jensen Burns runs in P6. And 1998, Ruben Carapatoso. They'll host the Rotax Max Grand Final in December this year, Australia, to send 12, possibly 13 drivers.
Something like that, yes, of course.
A good, strong contingent.
We'll still have one place up for grabs after this weekend. We'll crown Team Australia tonight. There will be one place available. That will go to the Race of Stars. For the first time ever, DD2 will be in operation at the Race of Stars. As Ananostiadis, he's been pushed a little bit wide. So Rutkowski's back up on the wheel now as well. He's got himself into 4th spot. He's been a bit out of sorts in the final so far, has Jake Rutkowski. And now he's pushing on for the final podium position, all over the tail of Max Walton as they work their way down what I'd call the back straightaway into the kink and into the next section of turns and up towards the Mojo section.
2 laps now remaining, or slightly less than. The energy cart being pushed way out off the, I was going to say onto the grass, but it isn't quite there yet. Onto the dirt. Was running up into 2nd spot, but has now dropped back. Let's see where he comes across the line. The energy cart, number 9.
Jumping in the seat.
Position 5, there is James.
Was his mum Barbara, quite an accomplished racer herself. Took out 2nd place in the Australian Kart Championship at Todd Road just a few weeks ago. James took his first podium finish in the Pro Tour at Albury. Sister Ava, who will be in action a little bit later on, she was looking for a podium but had an incident at the final turn on the final lap and is really fired up for a big result here later on today. So we'll keep an eye out for Ava as things progress in Minimax. But up the front here, Rutkowski, he is just in front of Walton, I think. One more lap to go when they come across the line this time. Peter Buzzanellis, he's been sensational this weekend. Took a victory he took a victory on slick tyres in wet conditions yesterday. He's under the tutelage of David Serra in the Serra Driver Development Team, as now Walton goes up the inside of Rutkowski for third. It's David Serra training Peter Buzzanellis to perfection. When you've got 18 Australian Championships to your credit, there's not too many that you can learn better from as he works his way around. We are half a lap from home in this Micromax final here this afternoon. Peter Buzzanellis leading the way. Coming through, just a couple more corners left to go. Burns still in second spot. Walton still there in third. Rutkowski trying to get through to get onto the podium. He took 3 round wins this year, did Rutkowski. Oh, it's firing up here for the final spot on the podium as Buzzanellis comes onto the front straightaway. He takes the win and he'll be off to Brazil. Second place will go to the number 23 of Burns, Rutkowski and Walton. I think that was happy celebrations as they crossed the line. I'm not so sure. They were certainly remonstrating with each other as they come across the line. Walton gets it done. I just love the passion of these young kids as they come across the line. They absolutely love it. And the fight they have for the trophies to just get up on that podium is just absolutely sensational.